thank you for coming. This is a huge issue, and we're trying to absolutely combat this problem. Our unit, the Vice Human Trafficking Unit, predominantly human trafficking, we were established in January 2014. We're brand spanking new. So we're learning a lot from the Innocence Laws Task Force in Denver. We're learning from a lot of other agencies how we conduct our business, and it has been an amazing learning curve. We also work closely with our non-governmental organizations. We work with Sarah's Home, Innocence Laws Task Force up in Denver, Restore Innocence, and we're drawing from everybody. We also, Colorado Springs Police Department has a victim advocacy unit, and later on you will hear from one of our speakers. So let me get started, and of course I have a couple videos because I know this is always entertaining. In my presentation there will be some crude, rude, bad language, cuss words. I didn't want to take them out, I didn't want to blur them out, just because I don't want to take away from the impact this has. This is the nature, this is the language they speak. I also want to let you know that when I say girls, when I refer to girls or victims, I am not only talking about girls, I am also including our boys, I'm also including our LGBT, thank you, our LGBT kids. I'm also including adults. So when I say girls, please don't take that as a one lane. I am very broad talking. So please don't be offended, I know you won't be.
A 7 News alert, a massive nationwide
Maybe I should go back one. This is a brief segment from Operation Cross Country. I bet most of you are familiar. It's an initiative which is driven by the FBI. We actually, Colorado Springs Police, participate in it. And this year, we, as the state of Colorado, our statistic blew everybody out of the water. Is this a good thing? Could be. Is it a bad thing? Could be. So we participated in this one-week initiative, and I believe almost all 50 states in some sort participate in it. And when we had all the statistics at the end of the work week, we were shocked. And I'm going to show you why. I want to read this sentence to you from our FBI director. The lesson of Operation Cross Country is that our children are not for sale, and we will respond and crush these pimps who would crush these children.
A 7 News alert, a massive nationwide sex trafficking bust. 281 people arrested, 168 children rescued across more than 100 U.S. cities. New at 10, Mark Stewart live now. Mark, in many ways, Colorado's at the center of all this.
And Mike, according to the FBI, 18 children were brought to safety here in Colorado, more than any other state in the country. We've also learned 11 sex traffickers were taken into custody here. And none of this is surprising to those who work on the front lines. Cameras are rolling as officers in Oakland, California bust young prostitutes and their pimps. Just part of the Fed's nationwide sex trafficking sting named Operation Cross Country. Colorado isn't immune. Air Tracker 7 over this Motel 6 on Island in Aurora. According to this police report obtained by 7 News, it's one of the locations where prostitution occurred. A case prosecutors say is getting the FBI's attention.
These are not faraway kids in faraway lands. These are our kids on our street corners, our truck stops, our motels, our casinos. These are America's children.
Colorado is getting attention for its large number of rescues and arrests of pimps. Experts say it's a reflection of community awareness of the problem.
Not only do you have law enforcement focusing on building cases and prosecution, you have service providers who are also there at the ready.
Experts stress the victims aren't always brought into rings here from far away. Many have troubled upbringings, lured in by people they're supposed to trust.
You can be trafficked in your own home, you can be trafficked in your own community.
And child advocates tell me they are curious to see exactly who was arrested. They are seeing a new trend with women and younger people becoming the leaders of these human trafficking rings. Reporting live tonight, Mark Stewart, 7 News.
That clearly teaches us that nobody's immune from this. And we have it in our neighborhoods, as I show you in a little while. Operation Cross Country taught us that community outreach, educating the community, educating you, will definitely help increase this. And that's probably one reason why our statistics were so high. 18 children rescued in 1 week. That's huge. That's in Colorado. Colorado Springs Police Department statistics fed into this. So we looked at this and we thought, why Colorado? What could this be? And we looked at our location. Denver is the biggest city within 600 miles. We have north, south, east, west corridors. We have a lot of military installations here. We got a lot of football, very athletic state. And of course, we have marijuana. A lot of people ask me, well, do you think marijuana contributes to human trafficking in Colorado? My opinion, I think it does. When I talk to the rescued girls, boys, LGBT, I ask, why did you guys come to Colorado if they're from out of state? Well, my pimp wanted to come to Colorado because we can smoke pot here. So I believe it absolutely contributes to the problem. The trends in Colorado Springs, and I'm going to bring this home. I am not talking on a nationwide base. I am not going to talk internationally. I'm going to bring this home to all of you. I'm going to bring this to Colorado Springs and to your neighborhood, because this is a problem in Colorado Springs and in your neighborhood. 420 friendly, yes. Like I said, the legalization probably strongly contributes to the problem of human trafficking. Gang members as pimps. Sex is a commodity, a profitable one. Joanne mentioned it earlier. You can sell a dime bag dope once, it's gone. You make a couple bucks off of it. You can sell a 14-year-old 100 times. That's absolutely true. This is actually a quote from the pimp. Circuit stops. What we mean by circuits is we have pimps traveling with their victims from different states, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado. So this is what's called a circuit. Colorado Springs is a circuit stop because of our location being on I-25, being easily accessible, and they're from here being trafficked throughout the state, throughout other states. So that would include crossing state boundaries, state lines. Where does human trafficking occur? And these who are familiar with Colorado Springs, a lot of these pictures I'll show you, they will look very familiar. Brothels. We have brothels here in Colorado Springs. Asian massage parlors. Our strip clubs. And I know Joanne kind of pointed that out earlier, that trafficking does occur in strip clubs. Often recruitment happens out of strip clubs. Hey, you're dancing, you look cute. Do you want to make some more money? Come work for me. Street level prostitution. Not as predominant anymore. We have Nevada and we have East Platte Avenue. We have the neighborhoods where it happens. In the mall, in a park, and we have schools. We are investigating cases where girls were recruited out of schools, often by other girls, older friends, runaways. What you don't see on this slide is the internet. That's probably the highest, most used form of commercial sexual exploitation. This is a page we took back in August this year here in Colorado Springs, and I'm going to step you through this, this page. What this is Backpage.com. Backpage is a site where you can sell items such as Craigslist. You can sell stuff, but you can also purchase sex. Very convenient if you want to kind of stay hidden behind the animosity of the internet. So we pulled this because it looked very interesting to us. What kind of sticks out is she doesn't show her face. Why do you think is that? Could she maybe be under the age of 18? Absolutely. So what I want to point out to you is upper right-hand corner, Colorado Springs. So this is where the ad was posted. And I'm going to give you guys later some shocking statistics about Backpage. So she posts, "Hello Denver." Wait a moment. She posted in Colorado Springs. Why does she say "Hello Denver"? Do you think she has a clue where she is right now? Probably not. So she posts, "Hello Denver, always on my naughtiest behavior. Last night here, 25. Looking at this picture, do you believe she is 25? Hard to tell. Looking this picture, she sticks out her tongue, she has a tongue piercing, she has a large tattoo on her right breast. This picture gives us great information to look on other pages, because we don't only have Backpage, we have probably 150, 200 other pages out there. Escort mugshots, where you can go on and hire a prostitute. So she has body marks in there. Looking at the body marks, we compare it and see, does she post anywhere else? Is she a circuit girl? Can we find her in Denver? So she goes on in her little ad and she introduces herself. She tells us that she is active in the sex industry from east to west. She describes herself as 5'6", 140, talks about her breast size and about her booty. And please call me quick because that's the last night here, wherever she is in Colorado Springs or Denver. And she puts on there no African Americans, no picture collectors, black men 50 plus. She is probably being pimped out. A lot of the girls who are under the control of a pimp, they don't wanna, they have the notion that if they put that on there, they will not have a African American man visit them, because they believe most pimps are African American, which is completely wrong. But they believe that this is the way they can avoid being taken over by another pimp, if that makes sense. So she puts that really strictly on there. She puts her rates on there. Quick meet, 80. Half an hour, 100. An hour, 200. This is what it's gonna cost you to have sex with this girl for that long. She puts on there that she's independent. Why would I put this on there if I wouldn't be independent? So clearly she's under the control of a pimp, but she wants to make everybody believe she's independent. Clearly this girl is not independent. She puts on there the location. Again, we were kind of talking about this earlier. Colorado Springs, Denver. Location, Colorado Springs. Your place, all mine, 24/7. This girl works 24/7, 365. There's no vacation, there's no holidays, there's no sick pay, nothing like that. So she is willing to travel to wherever you want her to come, or if you want to come to her place, you can probably visit her in a hotel. So this is how Backpage looks like. To analyze it, to look at it, it gives us great information. We often track those people advertising on Backpage.com across states. We tracked one from Colorado Springs. We made contact with her during Operation Cross Country. We offered her help. She didn't want to take the help. And we got the information last week that she was posting in West Virginia. The law. A House bill was recently passed and we were very, very happy about that. The law about human trafficking before July 1st this year was weak. It was difficult for us to go after it. This one is great. I'm going to step you through it. So basically, a person who knowingly sells, recruits, harbors, transports, isolates, induces, entices, provides, receives, or obtains by any means a person for the purpose of coercing the person engaging in sexual commercial activity commits human trafficking. Great law. Love to charge it. Absolutely, yes. Human trafficking in adults is a felony 3, in children, felony 2. Just to kind of give you a little bit of a comparison, a homicide is a felony 1. So to see that, juveniles is a class felony 2, that's great, that's great. And just to kind of explain to you, an adult, in this case, is considered anybody over the age of 18, a child, juvenile under the age of 18. The beauty of this law is that the child does not have to agree to be commercially sexually exploited. If she or he lies about his or her age, it's not a defense for the pimp. He can't come and say, I didn't know how old she was, she told me she's 21. It doesn't matter, you're on the hook for a felony 2. Harriet Tubman, she was in the mid-1800s. Phenomenal woman. She was a slave herself, and she was actually free. When she was freed, she went back and said, there's so many more slaves I can go back and rescue. So she traveled back from the area where she was freed and actually took many, many slaves in and used the American railroad system and brought them to Canada. The quote when I read it, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. I read the quote and I thought, wait a moment, that's a typing mistake. I thought, if I would have known they were slaves, but what she actually meant was if they would have known they were slaves. How many girls, how many boys do you believe have absolutely no clue what's happening to them? A lot. I want to show you another video. It's of Nicole. I did not have contact with her. She was rescued during this year's Operation Cross Country. And it's about a 5-minute video clip, 5 minutes. And she will outline for you a lot of key points about how it is about exploitation, manipulation, slavery, and how it is about victimization. We had a little bit of a problem earlier with it, so I hope I'm getting the thumbs up. Perfect.
He was gorgeous, and he had charm. Like, gorgeous, and he had charm. I wanted someone in my life to show me attention for a change, instead of being ignored. He made it possible to where, like, I went shopping, and then the next morning, he told me about how I can make some really good fast season money. I was like, okay, I'll try it. And he put me out on the street, and I came home with $750. It was kind of exciting because it had the thrill of hiding away from police when they were around, and like, I don't know, there was this excitement, like adrenaline rush kind of thing in the beginning. About 7 months afterwards, I had gotten raped by John, and Juan didn't believe me, and so that was my first beating. And it wasn't so much the beating, it was I got pepper sprayed and put into a shower for 3.5 hours, a cold shower. And I tried to leave, and then it just turned out to be worse. I invested so much time and so much money into Juan that everything was tied into him. I didn't have a house, I didn't have a bank account, I didn't have my own car, I didn't have anything. So if I left Juan, I left everything. I had nowhere to go, nobody to, hey, what can I do now? If I get away, you know, I did that, I tried that. I tried to get away, and I tried to go to people that I thought would help me, and hey, look, what do I do? I just had to figure out how and who was gonna help me, because there's no way I could have done it on my own. I was strong, but I wasn't strong enough. And the more I stayed, the more I got weaker. I felt like there was a medallion just hanging in front of my face the whole time. Still to this day, I can't figure it out. Because now that it's been so many years, I've kind of figured out how to get back to being Nicole again. And I can't see how I let that happen. It happened, and there's nothing I can do about it now. And I know that I'm a good person. I know that I try to do good by people. But when people find out about your past, and they find out about what you did, they don't really look at it as victimization. They look at it as you slept with guys for money and you chose to do that. Most girls don't choose to do that. They either get beaten into it, or they get traded for it, or they get into drugs, and that usually does it. I wish that I could show a different outlook than what they've seen a part of it, because some girls, when they get involved in it, they don't get to see all the gory and nasty bad stuff at first. Sometimes it comes later. So I just wish that, like, I could just show them all the bad stuff that's gonna happen if you keep persisting with this. I think if it wasn't for Deanna being so persistent and staying on top of me then, she was there. Whenever I needed someone, she was there. She made sure that she helped me as much as she could. At least to get me on the right road instead of keep going this way. It's been like 6 years since I haven't been in that part of life. And I've still come across some struggles and some parts that kind of get me down a little bit. But I realize like everything that I've accomplished in the last 5 years, and it kind of just keeps me going. I am very, very proud of myself. Every time I do something good, there's 2 people that I call immediately. It's my lawyer and Deanna. And I'm like, guess what I did today? When I got my very first off the lot car, I called up both of them and I was like, guess what I got? Because I was so proud of myself that I built up my credit that much. So I'm very proud of myself.
I think this clip outlines very beautifully what happens to those girls. She was lured into this. She had a disconnect with her family. She met one started trafficking her. He eventually began to pimp her out. Initially he was nice until she was raped by a John. And she told him, and he beat the living daylight out of her because he didn't believe her. And then from there on it went downhill. Did you guys pay attention? How long this has been going on for? She's 17 when she gave this interview. And she said, it has been 5 years. She began to be trafficked when she was 11, 12 years old. She was in this life for a very long time. She goes through the 5 stages of grief, I find, and with the victims, the survivors of human trafficking, we encounter this a lot, where it's denial, it's anger, disbelief in what we tell them. The 5 stages of grief, I encounter that, absolutely. So Nicole goes on to tell about her little accomplishments, about buying a car, about learning a new life, about going to the bank. And these survivors are completely stripped of their identity. They're completely stripped of what we take for granted. Walk out and get a cup of coffee and then go to your car and go home and greet your family. They're completely stripped of this. Every single thing they have to relearn. Of course, I'm going to have to bore you with a couple facts. 13 years old is the average age for entry into trafficking. The FBI recently changed that to 11. 11 years of age. That's nationwide. Here in Colorado, we typically encounter between 14 and 16 as of this point. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes lower. These statistics, I want to let you know, are self-reported, meaning there are some statistics which could be higher and lower, and I'm going to go through them with you. 85% admitted to drug abuse. Do I consider marijuana a drug? Yeah. Could it be higher? Absolutely. Because the kids might not consider that marijuana is a drug. 61% reported childhood sexual abuse. I believe this is much, much higher due to the fact that often they don't want to tell me or anybody from the FBI whether they have been sexually abused by their father or uncle or brother or anybody else in their household. 90% have extensive history in running from home and school. Running away is the single most contributing factor of becoming trafficked. The length of these trafficked girls' working careers was estimated at a mean of 5 years. After 5 years, typically they wash out because of STD, pregnancy, they get rescued, or their pimp trades them because they're old. Each trafficked person was estimated at a mean number of 868 sex partners in their career, which leads to roughly 4,340 sex partners in her career. This kind of hits under the skin. Imagine constantly having to lie about your age. Having all your identification taken away from you. Having to change your name. Typically it's a name given to you like Candy or some derogatory stripper name. Constantly being moved around, going to places you don't know where you are. Remember the girl from the Backpage ad? Goes to Colorado Springs in Denver? She has no clue where she is. Being beaten for not making enough money, having to give all the money you may give away, having threats made against you and your family. Getting a tattoo on your neck of the person who constantly abuses you. Being constantly threatened with violence, feeling trapped in an abusive situation. These are true tattoos, barcodes, and then I don't know if you can see it in the back, but this one here, the words 10 toes down represent her life being tied to the track, meaning the track of walking prostitution, street level prostitution. Her left foot tagged with a crown tattoo, Daddy's baby girl, which makes her belong to someone else. Could you imagine you having all your identity taken away from you, and all of a sudden somebody brands you with your daddy's bitch? And that's what you pretty much go by. One pimp brands his girls on their neck with his name in black and bright green. Every time this girl looks in the mirror, she knows exactly who she belongs to. Imagine not being able to make eye contact with men other than the one who abuses you. Remember when I believe Joanne spoke earlier about not being able to walk on the same side of the street as your abuser. Having to call a man who's not your father but abuses you daddy? Very common. Being punished and beaten when somebody else breaks the abuser's rule. Having to meet a nightly quota based on how much sex you have with men who are strangers. Having an STD, getting pregnant. Having sex with strangers every night. Getting arrested again and again at the age of 13. This picture is from one of our investigations. It was a girl who we rescued. She was trafficked up here from another state. And I took the screenshot because I find these couple words are very, very impacting. Daddy, can I please have hot Cheetos and Pepsi? This tells me so much. Basically, it tells me she has to call her pimp, her abuser, her trafficker, her perpetrator, daddy. Something what's endearing. I call my daddy, daddy. Can I please, making her beg for bare necessities, hot Cheetos and Pepsi? Do you think she's free to go out of her hotel room to go to 7-Eleven and get that herself? No, she's not. She has to beg for it. The bare necessities in her life. Food, something to drink. Sex trafficking is about, as I said earlier, manipulation, slavery, victimization, and exploitation. And I find that this text message she sent to her abuser outlines that beautifully. How's the public perceiving pimping? Where does this influence come to? I'm going to show you the next slide. I'm not going to comment much on it, but I'm going to show you a couple pictures. And I bet each and every single picture, or most of the pictures, every single one of you can relate to. You have seen MTV shows, Pimp My Ride. You have heard the rap songs, PIMP, Gangster. You have probably seen the advertisements for shrimp, pimp, nail polish, and whatnot. You have seen the costumes, what you can wear on Halloween to dress your kids up as a pimp and a hoe to go trick-or-treating. You probably have seen it.